One of the primary reasons the Golden State Warriors are doing so well is thanks to Draymond Green. His raw ability to play offense like a point guard and defend like a center have made him one of the best all-around players in the league. Despite his success, there's still a lot about him the world doesn't know. Here are the things Draymond Green has been hiding from the world. The Dancing Bear. When Green was back in college, he was given the nickname the Dancing Bear because of the way he charges down the court and because of his breathtaking transitions, which could be described as a more controlled version of LeBron James. With his pure force, he's able to battle to the rim and show off his full power while throwing borderline perfect alley-oop passes to his teammates. As a result of his finesse as a power forward and point guard, he's like a bear in the wild, but because he does all that in a very elegant way, they decided to nickname him the Dancing Bear. The nickname can't be heard much nowadays, since the fans transitioned to Dre Magic, but with all the magics we've currently got in the NBA, the funny nickname could soon make a comeback. Sleeping with ESPN. When Green isn't dominating the court, he's probably hanging out with his friends, dining with his family, or decides to take a much-deserved rest. What's different though is that Green always keeps ESPN and the other sport highlights shows on in the background, even when he's sleeping. He even cranks the volume all the way up, so just in case the broadcasters are talking about him, he can quickly wake up and not miss the part. The reason behind this strange behavior is because there are still plenty of haters in both the media and amongst fans, and he wants to hear every single bit of what they're saying. While some people function better not hearing the hate, negativity acts as fuel to Green's passion for the sport and makes him show people exactly what he can actually do. Forced Defender. One of the greatest skills in Green's NBA arsenal is his ability to be a center on the defensive side and a point guard on the offensive side. This style of play didn't just come from the nature though, as it can be attributed to his family coaching while he was growing up in Michigan. His father and uncle always forced him to play against the biggest and baddest kids while on defense, and then play point guard on offense. Even though he was bigger than most of others at the time, he was still acting like a point guard by running and shooting the ball. His family was sure that if Green doesn't grow a lot more, he will always have those guard skills on one side and the defensive on the other. And it's probably easy to notice that this type of versatility has been a vital aspect to the success of his game. Prefers WNBA. While NBA players usually prefer to watch their own games as a form of analysis, Green says he regularly watches the WNBA because he just learns more from this side of the sport rather than watching the actual NBA. The main reason for this mindset is because he thinks that in the NBA, there's always someone around getting all the attention only because they can jump out of the arena, even though they might not have any clue about the actual fundamentals of the game. In the WNBA, players much more often rely on essential basketball skills, such as dribbling, pump fakes, and proper pivoting, which is just as, if not more enjoyable to watch. In addition to watching WNBA games for pointers, he also studies the moves that players use, tries to make up defensive plays for them in his mind, and even tries to incorporate them into his own game, which is definitely not what many players do. He remembers all 34. During the 2012 NBA draft, not many were able to envision a Warriors team where Green became an all-star, and not only that, but also one of the best players in the league. And that was probably the reason why he was drafted as only the 35th pick overall. Ironically, they saw him as a player who was too small to play at the center position and too large for a small forward. And as we've mentioned already, he has been proving those skeptics extremely wrong for almost 10 years now. This was actually what put a chip on Green's shoulder and made him remember all 34 players that were drafted ahead of him. He memorized not only their names, but also the teams in which they were drafted. He can actually accurately recite all of them in order, without looking at a sheet of paper. This shows two things though. The first one is that he's just impressive overall, and the second that it is just plain awesome and shows how much of an impact that second round pick has had on him. Calls Tom at 4 a.m. Tom Izzo was Draymond Green's head coach at the Michigan State Spartans men's basketball team, and the two had a great relationship while he was playing at the school. Fortunately for both of them, they are still in touch on occasion and have developed a strong friendship. What's funny though is that they are still so tight that Green still feels completely comfortable calling Tom Izzo at 4 a.m. on any given day to discuss basketball prior to a big game, or just have a chat about sports in general, without a specific reason. While it is common for players and coaches to have some type of a positive relationship, this one is a true lifetime-long friendship. Best plus/minus. What's so good about Green is that he can be an extremely intimidating presence on the court, as he can score a ton of points, rip many rebounds, and have multiple assists with only a short amount of game time left on the clock. As a result, the Warriors have proven to be a stronger team when he's off the bench. In the 2016 season, he posted the best raw plus/minus of all players for the past 20 seasons, which is an unbelievable achievement. The plus/minus statistic measures the point differential for a team when one player is on the court, which equates to the difference in points scored for and against. While this might be a team statistic, when you review it individually, it can show how the team performs with a specific player on the court. And when Draymond is playing, the statistics are skyrocketing. BMW i8. We know that many players treat themselves with numerous little gifts with their hard-earned money, and Green is no exception here. When the BMW i8 came out, Green was one of the first NBA players to buy it. While this car is not the cheapest, for a player earning as much as Green, it was pocket money. The reason he bought it was because it was one of the first more sporty-looking electric cars that came to the market and wanted to stand out a little. He's not the only one that has owned this vehicle though, as LeBron, Giannis, and many more also had the exact same car, making it one of the most popular cars amongst NBA players. While he might have dropped roughly $150,000 on the whip, Green has deserved everything good that has happened to him to this day, and with his on-court dominance, he forever will.